Before we get started with today's video, guys, I want to thank Now for being the sponsor of this video. Now Sense is developed as a drink blend for the need of gamers. It's packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to help give you the advantage you need while gaming. It's free from caffeine, so no jitters and no energy crashes come with the drink. There's two tasty flavors, a lemon and raspberry flavor. Personally, I've tried it. I prefer the lemon one over the raspberry, but maybe you're different. You can drink Now Sense to get a crisp and clear focus, while also staying free of caffeine and taurine. Use code Optimus for 10% off any product in the store. The link is in the description. You'll get worldwide shipping, a money-back guarantee if you do not like the product for some strange reason, of course, and great customer support for any questions regarding Now or their products. Thank you to Now for being the sponsor of this video. Make sure to use the link in the description. What's going on, guys? It's time to have that same discussion that we have pretty much every single year regarding Call of Duty, and it's whether the next game is going to be the one that quote-unquote saves the franchise. Now, the whole thing with Call of Duty that I've always found weird is how it's a game where, like, the community is so upset constantly by what's going on with the franchise. They're upset with a lot of the changes being made. However, it's always the best-selling game of the year. Unless a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, games like that come along, Call of Duty completely destroys the competition in sales. It's pretty much always the #1 best-selling game of the year. Call of Duty just has a fan base that buys the games regardless. There's other franchises that can pull this off, of course, like Madden, NBA 2K. Plenty of other franchises have yearly releases that also sell extremely well. But with Call of Duty, it seems like it's really the only one of those where everyone's like, oh my god, Call of Duty's dying, we need to make changes, things like that. And of course, this year, we will be getting Modern Warfare 4. At least, that's what pretty much all of the rumors, industry insiders, even hints from Activision and etc. have kind of been insinuating. We're going to see Modern Warfare 4 for COD 2019. Infinity Ward is up to bat, and in reality, this is, I would say, a big chance for Call of Duty to make a big revival. Modern Warfare is a very beloved franchise, or I should say series within the franchise. I mean, there really hasn't been a bad Modern Warfare game. Everyone loves Modern Warfare 2. That's pretty much the fan favorite Call of Duty game. That and Black Ops 2 are quite often heralded as the greatest Call of Duties of all time. But with that being said, Modern Warfare 4 is a game that I'm extremely optimistic for, and I'm extremely happy to be seeing hopefully come to shelves. But also, I'm extremely scared for, because we haven't gotten a Modern Warfare game in the quote-unquote current era of COD. I mean, and what I mean by this really is mostly with the business practices that we see. Because when we last saw Modern Warfare with Modern Warfare 3 all the way back in 2011, microtransactions and the entire industry of gaming were completely different than what they are now, and especially with Call of Duty. You would directly purchase things. They would release things like personalization packs, and then you would buy these, and these were camos and things like that. But in Modern Warfare 3, there wasn't even really any of that. In reality, the only microtransactions were map packs. You want some new multiplayer maps? You can go ahead and buy those. But, I mean, we haven't seen things like that, really. I mean, of course, we still do get map packs, technically, until Black Ops 4, but we don't really know what the plan is when it comes to that in Modern Warfare 4. There's a lot of leaks and all kinds of stuff that are saying all kinds of different things about the game. But with Black Ops 4, the quote-unquote new maps really only come if you have the Black Ops Pass. Basically, you have to buy a season pass in order to get the quote-unquote new maps. But of course, there are free maps that get released. Primarily, they're just weather updates and lighting updates to already existing maps in the game. But we have seen Nuketown make its 4th appearance in the Call of Duty franchise when it comes to a multiplayer map in Black Ops 4. It became free for all players. And I'm assuming more maps will come out for free over time. They did this in Black Ops 3 as well. They did release some free maps, but I don't know simply if we're going to be seeing that in Modern Warfare 4. We might see the same DLC pass that we see in Black Ops 4, and honestly, I think that is, if I am right and I guess right, I think that is what we're going to see. We're going to see another season pass where you have to have that to get the new maps. I just don't see map packs coming anymore, and microtransactions in current Call of Duty compared to back then just aren't even close to the same. I mean, they have gotten completely ridiculous with the microtransactions in current Call of Duty games. I mean, the franchise and the fans have wanted really to go back to the older styles of DLC and stuff, but, you know, they just refuse to. We want directly purchasable camos, but almost all of the camos in Black Ops 4 that you don't get from just like playing and completing challenges are behind the supply drops. Or I should say the reserve cases. Of course, they have released 7 or 8 camos and reactive camos in the store, but most of them honestly are just recycled by, you know, like the Benjamin's camo that was in Black Ops 2. Party Rock, the reactive camo, is based on Party Rock from Black Ops 2's personalization packs. Cherry Blossom is taken from Black Ops 2 as well. So we're not really seeing a whole lot of directly purchasable camos and stuff, and I think a pretty decent amount of the community wants us to kind of move in the direction where you can like, you know, we don't really want these supply drops in these reserve cases that they keep pushing. We just want everything to be directly purchasable for a set amount. I think that would be the best thing for the franchise anyway. I think they would ultimately sell probably a lot more microtransactions, honestly. I mean, you look at a game like Fortnite, right? The cosmetics are directly purchasable whether you get the battle pass or you don't, okay? They have the item shop, which Call of Duty tried to replicate, and honestly, I would say failed in replicating. But this item shop is updated with brand new items on a daily basis. I mean, you look at Call of Duty's item shop, it takes like 7 to 13 days for things to get out of the store, and most of the time, especially when it comes down to the camos and things that people really want to buy, they just permanently leave them in the item shop, taking up space, and the new quote-unquote camos often are just mastercrafts of a specific weapon, and they are bundled in with these supply drops that the community ultimately doesn't like, and that the gaming community ultimately doesn't like. And we don't know how this is going to be approached in Modern Warfare 4. Honestly, I think if they're going to go with the system they have now, the microtransactions that we see in Modern Warfare 4 are just going to be absolutely fucking ridiculous. Because you have to think of it like this. If they're going to use an already egregious microtransaction system and they're going to basically abuse the consumers to make extra profit on a $60 AAA game, why would they do it with one beloved series, aka Black Ops, but they're not going to do it with Modern Warfare 4, which in reality is another fan-favorite series? Modern Warfare 4 is going to sell insanely well. We all know it's going to sell well, especially if Modern Warfare 2 Remastered's campaign gets bundled with it. It's going to sell like hotcakes. And you already know, with the way Activision runs things, that we're going to see more bad microtransactions if they go with this system. Now, of course, they could see what the community wants and do one thing that we've never seen them do. Completely change the business practice depending on what the community wants. They only really quote-unquote did this for BO4, and I put quotes around that is because they copied Fortnite, well, in reality, Fortnite kind of took a bunch of Call of Duty's players away in World War II. When it blew up, they tried to copy the item shop because it's a very popular method of delivering DLC now. But they failed. I mean, let's be honest, and we're going to see them possibly do it again if they decide to listen to the community. The real way that that's going to happen is if everything becomes directly purchasable, and I mean literally everything. All the content that you guys are planning for supply drops, make an actual item shop and just categorize it by like camos, outfits, weapon reticles, things like that, okay? And just list everything in this shop. Just give it a little tile, you know, rows and rows of all this different stuff. Let us go through there, 200 COD points each for the camos. DLC weapons, put that stuff behind in-game challenges. If you want to make cosmetic variants, make it like $500 or $600 per variant, and you can make it weapon-based all you want. I don't care. I'm willing to compromise, but there has to be a change if Modern Warfare 4 is truly going to save the franchise, especially in the microtransactions department. Another way is in this whole update category. Now, they're already saying that this is going to be the most ambitious project in Call of Duty. We hear this every year, but every year Call of Duty really does have kind of a bigger scope on things compared to what it used to. I mean, look at World War II. We had the headquarters, which was this big social area. We had the entire multiplayer. We had all these events and stuff. We never used to have things like that in Call of Duty. We had zombies, which honestly I thought sucked. We had a campaign. We had a ranked playlist. And then you look at Black Ops 4. I mean, it has Blackout, Battle Royale. It has the Specialist headquarters, if you care about that. Multiplayer, of course, zombies. I mean, they do get a little bit more ambitious with every Call of Duty game, so I mean, I guess I can see where they're coming from when it comes down to it, but at the end of the day as well, they need to make sure that they're managing all of this quote-unquote ambition with constant enough updates. I mean, you look at Black Ops 4, for like the first 5 months, there just simply was not enough content in the game, okay? It launched with a lack of content, a lot of the maps were just recycled from older games, or actually, I should say they were recycled from DLC 6 and Black Ops 3, which was basically what it was. but they spread themselves way too thin. I mean, they have to constantly update Blackout to keep that community happy. It's such a large game mode. It needs such a huge amount of attention. Zombies, of course, needs updates and stuff. They've been neglecting zombies for the better part of this game's life cycle so far. I would say the same thing with multiplayer. And the problem is that they keep promising all of this. It's going to be the most content-filled Black Ops game of all time. But there's, 70% of the content is emotes and stickers that nobody wants. They're disappointing people with a lack of true content, the lack of new maps, lack of weapons, the lack of perks, all this kind of stuff. The stuff that makes Call of Duty what it is what it's lacking. And you can't do that with Modern Warfare 4. If you're going to bring Modern Warfare 4 out, and it doesn't have an insane amount of content off the launch, we better be seeing very consistent updates with new content. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. The community doesn't want a weather update map. We don't consider that a new map, okay? You can bring in, your Sandstorm Arsenal, your Hurricane Contraband, Firing Range Night, Seaside Sunset. Those are not new maps. You can say that they're new all you want, doesn't make them new, okay? Nuketown, I'll consider a new map, even though it's the 4th rendition of multiplayer Nuketown we've gotten. But it's not cutting it, Especially with what you're promising. If you're going to promise us something for $60, you better be delivering on it. And Modern Warfare 4 is not going to survive very long past the life cycle, and it's definitely not going to retain all of the nostalgic fans that it's trying to pull back in with the bullshit that they pulled off with Black Ops 4. It's going to have to be better. And by better, I mean it's going to have to be golden era Call of Duty again. I have no question that the actual gameplay is going to be good. The gameplay in every Call of Duty is essentially pretty good. Honestly, I didn't like Infinite Warfare's gameplay all that much. Ghosts got a lot better over time. I think that game aged like fine wine, even though I still am not the biggest fan of it. But even Black Ops 4, which is a game that I've had a very big love-hate relationship with, it has pretty decent multiplayer when you look at the foundation of what it's trying to be. No question do I think that Infinity Ward is going to do very well with the multiplayer in Modern Warfare 4. When it comes down to, the weapons being good, the maps being hopefully at least playable, the gunfights being good, I have no question, but it's these other things that I'm afraid for. I'm afraid for how the microtransactions are going to go, how bad the community is going to be treated post-launch with all of this milking of the wallet, with the lack of content updates to the game. I mean, we're going into an era of gaming where there's new content in some games on a weekly basis. Look at Fortnite. They're making changes to that game all the time. You look at that new Star Wars game that Respawn's making. Apparently, it's just going to be a single-player game with no microtransactions. And the sad thing is that that's what the game has to be marketed as, okay? You have to market that new game as a single-player only campaign game with no DLC microtransactions. In the year 2019, that was the norm. That was the standard for games when I was a kid. But now that I'm out of high school, that is actually part of your marketing strategy, is to tell people, hey, we're not going to basically fuck your eyeballs out with $800 of DLC on a $60 video game. You can buy our game and rest assured that you will get what you paid for. That's what honestly sucks, That's what's sad about the whole thing. And unfortunately, Call of Duty is a prime example of that predatory behavior. And it's not going to be able to coexist with the golden era of Call of Duty. I'm sorry, it just isn't going to happen. If we really want Modern Warfare 4 to quote-unquote save this franchise, we really have to make sure that there's changes made. And by changes made, I don't mean exo-boosting jetpacks, futuristic Call of Duty. I don't mean 900 emotes, calling cards, and stickers in 1,000 item pools for your supply drops. I don't mean a $60 game with a $50 DLC pass for the maps with free recycled content inside of it, but you pay $20 for a previous version of a camo that everyone got for playing the game, a cosmetic variant, and 10 supply drops, loot boxes. That's the problem. Unfortunately, a lot of the new content, quote-unquote content, when it comes down to like the stuff that we want, like the camos, it's being bundled with supply drops that nobody wants. I'm all for extra content. I really am. But when it comes down to it, Call of Duty has done it right with games like Modern Warfare Remastered and World War II, and they've done it terribly with games like Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. And you're not going to be able to quote-unquote save Call of Duty and keep going down that route. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're brand new around here on my channel. Follow me over on Twitter at Subtoptimus. I post memes, thoughts, and updates over there. It's a surefire way to get notifications of all my newest content. Thank you to Now for sponsoring this video as well. Join the Discord down below, lots of great things going on down there. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, playing some Call of Duty, and signing out.